of the Wilton 3D unicorn video. If you need any assistance with what we've done prior, please refer to part 1 and part 2. Let's get started. The front legs call for 2 pieces from cavity number 3. So I will break off enough dough to fit into that cavity, and I will have to do it twice. So I have the first front leg here, and I will break off another piece so that our unicorn will have 2 front legs. Put my dough back into the package, pop this leg out, put my chart to the side. So these legs are going to be very similar to the ones we just created. So we will roll these into a ball. And once the ball is created, I will elongate them. Once again, we want them to be about 2 inches. We want these to be pretty even. I'll just roll them with a couple of fingers. I'll take my spatula to flatten the ends. Once again, I'm going to use the knife tool to create the hoof at the bottom. So each leg has to be slightly flattened and attached to the body. If you're using fondant, you're going to be using water. And when you use water, you want to make sure that you're only using just enough water to dampen it, because fondant is sugar, and sugar melts when it gets wet. So I'm going to use my little straws once again. Now the only reason you wouldn't use something like this with a fondant cake is because it's a character, and kids like to eat anything that looks cute and funny, and you wouldn't want them to get a foreign object like a piece of straw or a toothpick caught up in their mouth. So you have to make sure that once you're doing these characters for cake decorating, that everything on them is edible. So I have now attached the front legs, the back legs to the body, and the next thing that I will be doing is the head. The instructions for the head call for 2 pieces. One size 10 and one is a 4. So I will be taking my modeling dough or fondant or shape in a maze, whatever you might be using. And I will put one piece in number 10, and I will put the other piece in number 4. Once I have those two together, I will pop them out. And then I will combine the two pieces. I'll put my chart away. Now the head, using pieces 10 and 4, we're going to once again roll it into a ball. This ball rolling is very important. It's important that you apply a certain amount of pressure to it, because once your fondant dries, if there are a lot of cracks in between it, then the cracks will come to the surface. And if you're presenting someone with a beautiful cake with these whimsy characters, you don't want their head to be split open. So I have my nice ball, and once again I'm going to roll my ball into a cone, bring back, and the cone is supposed to be about 1.5 inches as opposed to the 2 inches for the body. So that's about right. And initially, I told you we would be using the dog bone tool. And so we will be using the dog bone tool to make the eyes. So I have kind of a cone shape here. One of the nice things about these 3D characters is that they are whimsical. So if they're not exactly a photographic image of a unicorn, that's fine, because they are supposed to create a certain sense of joy, especially if the person who is about to be the birthday girl or the birthday boy is into, in this case, unicorns. They'll be happy to see a happy, whimsical unicorn. So I have my cone shape. I'm going to use my bone tool, the smaller end, and I'm going to make an indentation for the 2 eyes. And I'm going to use my knife tool to make the muzzle for the mouth. And also, it's going to need eyebrows. I can do it this way. I don't exactly know what a unicorn eyebrow looks like, but I'm going to say that's pretty close. And also, he'll need nostrils. So we're just going to take and make a couple of nostrils right there and right there. And I'm going to take a straw Now, additionally, when you make these eyes, you would also use like 2 black pearls. Put it in here for his head. Now, you would be using water for this. When you attach the head, you might want to use a toothpick because the head is a little heavy. Actually, I'm just going to use a longer straw. So this is one of those times when you have to warn the parents that this character should not be eaten, because you will have a toothpick in there to keep the head on the body. The next phase of developing our unicorn is to make the ears, the horn. And to do that, we need a piece in the number 1 cavity. And we're going to take that one piece and divide it into 4 equal pieces. So I'll use my knife tool to approximate this. That's 2. I'll cut that in half. And I will cut that piece in half. So to make the ears, we're going to set aside 2 pieces, shape them into a ball as usual. And then we're going to shape it into a cone. And it's supposed to be about 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 is almost a half an inch. So I make my cone. Shape it into a cone. And I want the 2 pieces to be the same size. So I have my 2 ears. And I'm going to connect the ears using 2 small pieces of straw. You would just very simply use water and any painter's brush. So we're gonna put the ear on. So if we were using water, it would just sit flat onto his head. Even when you are using fondant for these little fine pieces, since you already have a straw in his back to keep them from falling off, you probably could just use a straw or a toothpick to put the ears on. So he's coming along. Now we're also going to need 2 pieces to make the horn.